This time I want to go to animal welfare and pest management. In relation to managing the impacts of livestock predation, why has only the fox bounty been funded this year?
There is existing funding from a previous budget. So this budget provides $9.2 million over 4 years to the Vertebrate Species Management Program to manage the negative impacts on foxes, feral pigs, feral goats and rabbits on agricultural production, biosecurity and biodiversity.
So what about how much funding's been made available to manage dingoes in the northwest of the state, given the program's no longer there and the population is soaring and sheep and lambs are dying coming into lambing season?
Yeah, it's very difficult for those farmers. I have absolutely no doubt.
So is there funding allocated?
There is funding allocated to undertake, there's $2.078 million in the budget to support farmers to protect their livestock. Now that's for a variety of programs, including dingo...
It's not to bring back the wild dog program.
Well, no, it's not to bring back the wild dog program because in the northwest of the state, there is the dingo is protected. So
shouldn't the lambs be protected? And farmers, again, that are doing it so rough and losing... Absolutely. And that's why we're working with farmers to implement alternate, non-lethal strategies that can go to protecting their $2
livestock.
million isn't going to put up much dog-proof fencing, though.
Well, let me tell you a few of the things that are happening at the moment.
I've had a farmer call my office in the last few weeks saying that he loves his sheep. He's a shearer as well, and he's having to put down 1 in every 3 lambs at the moment because of wild dogs. And you've only committed $2 million.
Plus the $550,000 that was last year. So there's a number of things that are taking place. If what you want from me is to say the program will be brought back, you're not going to hear it. You're not going to hear that. Yeah, but I'm not going to say that because it's on the numbers that we've been provided with, and we can come to those numbers later if you like. The risk to the dingo in the northwest of the state is that it is at a point of dangerous conservation levels.
Are we still doing the DNA testing that the dog is used to? There used to be a program where you would... Is that still happening?
I don't know if that one is happening, to be honest, and if it was, it would only be in the east of the state because...
Used to happen in the northwest.
Yeah, it might have used to, but you asked me if it was still happening. It's not happening in the north.
So we don't know whether they're actual dingoes or whether they're wild dogs, is our point.
So this has been the absolute problem with this debate leading up to the expiration of the previous unprotection order. And that was there are so many diverse views about the data, whether it's in relation to predation, whether it's in relation to dingo numbers, or whether it's in relation to are they wild dog or dingo. What we need to do, and this is why it's been, we've got time before the next order expires, and I know
what
you
is expired in the northwest?
I know you want to hear about the northwest, but we need to get a way of monitoring all of those data points so that when the time comes to revisit the unprotection order, there is agreement as to what the data means.
So as the Minister for Agriculture, though, what support are you going to offer farmers now that are losing lambs at a rate of 1 in 3? That's 30% of their new flock to wild dog attacks.
This is what I was going to before you got me on a different track. So at the moment, there's 11 projects across the state. Many of them are in the northwest. These include a camera monitoring project that is tracking dingo movements to see if the lack of water sources on public land is making dingoes seek water on private property. So a proof of concept commenced in
It's too late
April.
by the time they're going to...
Well,
do you know how...
Do you want to know...
Sorry, Minister. In the interest of time, because I've only got one session left and I need to get through these, do you know what the cost is for dog-proof fencing?
Part of this process at the moment is predator exclusion fencing. It's underway on 4 properties across the northwest. It's adapting the existing fences to make them predator resistant. It's within the funding that has been provided.
Do you know what cost it is per
per metre, per kilometre?
It
'Cause they
depends.
need a lot.
Well, it depends on what the fence is, what you're going to do to it. Is it a new fence? Is it putting the retrofitted hot wires onto an existing fence? You can't just say how much is it per metre, because it entirely depends on what type of fencing is going to be appropriate in your circumstances. What have you currently got? What do you need? And how can we make it work?
Is there any outlook for e-collars for dingoes?
The e-collars for dingoes that have been considered, yes, that is being looked at, but when we're talking about e-collars for dingoes, we're not talking about shock collars, we're talking about monitoring collars.
Correct. So we can actually get a true idea.
Correct, and this is where I go back to, we need to have consensus on the data to be able to have a proper conversation.
So are you comfortable
what
that $2.078 million is enough to battle wild dogs and dingoes in the northwest of the state?
Plus the 5.5 of the 550,000 from last year.
That's been spent to build fences now, isn't it? As far as deer and pig management, how much is also being spent on deer and pig management?
Deer and pig, that's part of the vertebrate. It's the environment portfolio, I wouldn't have that data.
Secretary, you don't have any of that data?
Well, I think, as the Minister said before, there is the $9.2 million for the Vertebrate Species Management Program, which is an integrated approach to managing the impacts of feral goats, feral pigs, foxes and rabbits. But separately, in addition to that, as the Minister was saying, in the environment portfolio, we've also got significant investment occurring into our deer control measures, and as part of that process there's also complementary work around deer as well. So you'd have to look across the breadth of those programs to look at the total of
The $200,000 has been allocated for the kangaroo harvesting program, or there's only $200,000 for kangaroo harvesting. And I noticed that also that's come up in a couple of other portfolios. Is that a funding cut as well? Given that kangaroos, and we've heard, V-Line complaining about hitting kangaroos on the Bendigo line in particular, so they're in plague proportions. Has there been a cut to the kangaroo harvesting program?
It's not my portfolio.
Are they, so you
not
have
my
no,
portfolio.
yeah, but you don't have any oversight?
They're questions for the Minister for Environment.
So no oversight whatsoever, even though they're a massive agricultural pest. The Secretary, do you have any insights into that?
Well, I think I'd be guided by the committee's approach to the estimates of the agriculture portfolio. But what we can say is that certainly in relation to kangaroo pressures, we've got a heightened awareness at the moment to support agricultural producers in dealing with requests for authorities to control wildlife, and there have been certainly an increased number of authority to control wildlife granted in relation to kangaroos.
Thank you, Secretary.